Okay, excellent job once again. So we're going to move into upbeat or upstroke focus. And what I mean by that is we're going to be taking out some downbeat picking. So for this first example, beat number 3 is gone. I wrote out the rhythm 2 different ways. First way, the easy way to read it. And the second way, the not so easy way to read it. I wanted to show both because there's a very good chance in tabs, whatnot, you're going to come across both. A lot of times it's just going to be this. But this makes it so much easier to learn and understand it, I think. So the reason being, with this, you can see all of the down and up beats very clear. Very clear. Down here, not so much. So we got the eighth notes written up here. Think of it as your eighth note grid. Each one of these represents a single eighth note. And there's 8 things here. So that grid, you want to visualize it in here. So there's your 1, upbeat of 1, downbeat of 2, upbeat of 2. That's your downbeat of 3, upbeat of 3, downbeat of 4, and we got the quarter note there, so that takes up the down and the upbeat of 4 in terms of how long the chord rings out. So, with this chord played on the upbeat of 2, we can see that it is tied. That eighth note is tied to this eighth note, which is the downbeat of 3. So this method of notating the rhythm makes it very easy to read quickly that you're playing on the down of the 1, upbeat of 1, downbeat of 2, upbeat of 2, not on the downbeat of 3, but strumming again on the upbeat of 3 and down on the upbeat of 4. So we did a bit of this with single note stuff, but now we're going to be making sure the counting is happening. One of the hard things about this, which is also a very necessary part, I feel, in order to really make sure you understand this stuff in terms of not just being able to read it, but playing it, feeling it correctly. Tap the foot, tap the foot, tap the foot, tap that foot. Where people get off or it gets messed up is here, because people will stop moving their hand and end up goofing up the pattern, or they stop tapping the foot, or they do like double tap stuff. So the idea is you keep that foot tapping with the metronome. Of course, when it gets going really, really fast, tapping the foot on like the first and third beat is good, or even just tapping at the very beginning. But definitely nod your head a little bit. I think it's a lot easier, just tiny little nods. Tiny little nods. That works well when you get going faster and faster. So nod your head along with it. Tap the foot as much as you can. At the slow speeds, like 60 to 120, just like the counting out loud, it's definitely be tapping the foot for 60 to at least 120. Yeah, just everything is just synced up. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up the whole time. So, when it is a downbeat, we strum down. When it is an upbeat, we strum up. So that does mean you will have 2 upstrokes in a row here, 2 upstrokes in a row here, 2 upstrokes in a row here. So I need to explain this part down here. So comparing this bar and this bar. So again, the rhythm is exactly the same. Mathematically, there is no difference. So we have eighth note, eighth note, eighth note, eighth note, eighth note, eighth note, an eighth note tied to an eighth note, and 2 eighth notes equals the length of 1 quarter note. So think of it as quarter note. Even though it is clearly an eighth note tied to an eighth note, mathematically it lasts the duration of a quarter note, which is that. And then eighth note, quarter note, quarter note, eighth note, eighth note, eighth note, eighth note, eighth note, eighth note, quarter note, quarter note, eighth note, quarter, quarter. So Mathematically, same thing. The count stays the same. So let's get into this guy. And then same deal as always with this eighth note stuff. You get to 240 or faster, just send the videos like you have, and that's what we need. We can move on. So here we go. Number 1, S60. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 4. 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 Done. Notice how my hand is moving the entire time. So when you get to that downbeat of 3, you need to strum down. You're missing the strings, but you still need to strum down on that third beat. This way your hand is in position for the upstroke of beat 3. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 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 4. Done. 120. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 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 4. Done. 180. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 240. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, number 2, very similar to number 1. This time, we don't have the 2 eighth notes at the beginning. We just have the quarter note, and then we go into this part here where we skip strumming on the downbeat of 3. So once again, the downbeat of 3 is the downbeat we do not play on. So very similar rhythm. Once again, I've also written it out 2 different ways. So this is the easy way of reading it, the not so easy way of reading it, but mathematically it is the same. Now, because the rhythms are so similar, but I also wanted to spice it up a little bit, you could say. Notice we got 2 chords here in both the second and fourth bar. You got to make sure you change this chord and this chord at the appropriate time. Make sure you wait until that upbeat of 3 is happening when you move into that chord. You have to line up the upstroke with the chord change, or I should say, you need to line up the chord change with the upstroke. So make sure that during the downbeat of 3, you do not move that fretting hand. Don't move it early. You gotta stay on that chord until the upstroke happens. Then you switch the chord. So, here we go. Number 2, 60. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 4. 1, 2, and 4. 1, 2, and 4. 1, 2, and 4. Done. 120. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 4. 1, 2, and 4. 1, 2, and 4. 1, 2, and 4. Done. 180. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 240. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. I just went with basic power chords here because if I have to keep clearing my throat, and because of the trickiness of switching chords in the second and fourth bar. All right. So for the theory stuff, we're going to do the key of F. Same idea. Excuse me. Good Lord. But you mentioned you want to focus on the D and G string. Well, look where you're going to start for every single one. you get a special version. Everything starts on the D or the G string. So hopefully that helps get you accustomed to what's going on here. The same deal. Keep everything on the same set of strings. Think about minimizing the left to right movement as much as you can. And yeah, label it all. Turn it in when you got it. And any questions, let me know. All right, I will see you in your next video.